You're a humbug, Trixie, and worse, a thief.
I can't steal what's lawfully mine, you tangle-footed dimwit.
Break it up, you two. I've heard more than enough of your shit for one day.
That was my salvage, Trixie. You had no right to it then, and you've no right to it now. A disagreement between professionals. None of your business.
I risked my life sneaking around Marauders to claim that wreck. And I didn't see your name on it.
Now you've done it. Eat fist!
All right, that's enough! This is a family establishment! You want to make a mess? You make it outside!
But this was personal, Lex. It's a question of salvage. That wreck was gonna make me a fortune. Hey, didn't I warn you about sticking your nose where it doesn't belong?
It's the same fight every day. 5 years we've been at this, and we still can't agree on how to properly tag salvage. Now you two listen, this is my place. While you're in the Sprat Shack, you'll sit quietly, or I'll forbid you to come here at all. Is that understood?
Fair's fair. I'll have a stout, and we'll settle this later on our own terms.
It's no good to leave a fight unresolved. If I don't do something, these two are gonna be at each other's throats. Would you do me a favor and weigh in as a third party? I can use an unbiased set of eyes on the problem, and an outsider like you fits the bill. If you wouldn't mind. This isn't von Hoffman material. Calling up von Hoffman would be like swatting a fly with a sledgehammer. Aye, aye, sir. Freddy, Trixie, go on and make your case to the generous stranger.
I'll start, seeing as I'm the one who's been most wronged in this equation. Oh, very formal. Freddy the Scab, freelancer for sublight salvage and shipping, same as my father before me.
Junkyard Trixie, also a salvage freelancer, though I've been at it longer than Freddy.
May I first say what an honor it is to stand in your company. Your exploits with Miss Hagen are the stuff of legend. Shit! I mean, whoops, can I start over? So, just up the road and due east of here, there's a shipwreck lodged in the mountainside, right? I staked my claim on that wreck. Then I wandered in for a drink. An hour later, Trixie swaggers in bragging about her salvage. Ugh, the nerve of some people. I climbed on top of it and called out in my loudest voice, "Finders keepers!" What if I were to sweeten the deal? Say the salvage is mine, and I'll give you a share of the finder's fee.
Bullshit. That ain't fair. When I found the shipwreck, there were no salvage mark. See, the whole area was teeming with bloodthirsty marauders. So I snuck around and added my tag, clear as day so no drunken idiots could claim the salvage out from under me, Freddy.
For the record, when I heard the marauders coming, I left. Trixie must have set her mark down after me.
I kept my mouth shut during his story. He should have the courtesy to return the favor. Anyway, that's my story, sir. I drew next in the dirt, with my toe. Wouldn't surprise me in the least, but that doesn't mean it ain't mine.
In all my years, I've never heard a more contentious argument. I don't envy your shoulders for bearing the weight of responsibility. You've heard it from them both. So, who gets the salvage?
He can't do that. Lex, can he do that?
I'm afraid so, Trixie. If you don't like it, you can become a vice president yourself and do as you like. Congratulations. Here's a six-pack on the house, your adjudication fee, and your finder's fee for the salvage. I'll write to Lilia Hagen in the corporate office on Groundbreaker. She'll get some haulers to drag it away. It'll take a while. Nothing happens fast around these parts. But at least the salvage would get a good home. A little too often if you ask me, but that's the sublight way. Anything worth doing is worth fighting over. Come and chat if you're ever feeling thirsty.
We could always go back and rile him up again later. That's my captain.
It's been a day, let me tell you.
I'm not drunk. You're drunk.
I wouldn't get too close to that railing, just in case.
You think the folks here like strangers? Because some of them are looking at us like, maybe not.
This rock ain't much to look at, but it's our rock.
This is the best joint in the system, ain't that right? Jerome would have loved this place. You don't look like one of the salvagers, no? Don't really seem like the type. You've got the look of someone who's traveled far to get here, and whose journey is far from over. Confidence. The scavengers around here, they're faking it. You're the real deal. I don't know if you're bound for the old ruins, but in case you are, can you look into something? I'd do it myself, but of course, the Marauders would eat me alive. Not for long. Looking for something out there. Been paying Sublight to help me, but they haven't made much progress. Well put. My husband and I worked on Gorgon during the good times. Jerome was on maintenance duty. I cleaned out test tubes till they sparkled. Nowhere good, that's for sure. In his final hours, Gorgon was a war zone. Violence broke out in the labs. The hills were full of marauders. You couldn't take a leisurely stroll without an armed escort. When the order came through to evacuate, non-essential personnel drew a lottery to see who would board the first wave of ships. Jerome won. I lost. As soon as I wasn't looking, Jerome switched our tickets and pushed me to the front of the line. I got to leave. Jerome stayed behind. I never saw him again. That Jerome always chose the right thing, even when it got him killed. This place is greedy. It took my Jerome, and it would have taken me too. I just want one thing back. His old hip flask. I gave it to him the day we signed our marriage contract, and he carried it wherever he went. I know it's still here. No point in denying it, he died on this rock. Likely torn apart by marauders, unless he took care of himself on his own terms. I don't like to imagine what happened, but I know I have to accept it. You'd really do that for me? Law, and I'll bet you're worth 10 of those sublight sprats. I don't have much, but if you help me, there's a little set aside for the occasion. Jerome used to drink with his buddies in a small kitchen opposite the maintenance shed. Might be a good place to check first. Yeah? That old flirt? Yeah, I let him buy me a drink or two. He talked my ear off about exciting jobs he'd done. All lies, I'm sure. He fell asleep with his head on my shoulder. That man had baggage like you wouldn't believe. I didn't think anyone could be lonelier than me. He bragged about having the key to some sort of maintenance area in one of the old buildings. I never saw it, so I just assumed he was talking himself up. He also asked if I wanted to see something gross and slimy he kept in his room, but I declined, politely. He put on quite a front, but I think he was weary, like he'd seen too much and had too little to show for it. Guess we were kindred spirits in a way. Sure thing. My condolences if you two were close. The lab coats kept quiet about the project, but the air was charged with excitement. You could feel it wherever you went. They wanted to change the world. A tenfold boost to worker productivity with no side effects? Who wouldn't salivate at the thought? I don't know what went wrong, but when the shit hit the fan, it sprayed everyone in its path, including me.
That last drink you ordered had a punch to it. What did you say it was called?
Lunar Eclipse Mix. It's just pep pills and a 2-hour energy brew. My ex used to have them with breakfast.
Oh yeah. Whatever happened to that guy?
I broke it off. He wouldn't take his hat off in the bedroom.
Yikes.
Every time I see a Spacer's Choice advertisement, it's like he's staring at me from behind the screen.
Huh, who's this now? Wonder if they could... Nah, who am I kidding? Holy shit, a fresh face. Haven't seen your like in years. Don't know what brought you to the most dangerous corner of this solar system, pal, but you're welcome here. Oh, you talked to Lex yet? She tell you to keep it civil? You wouldn't guess to talk to her, but that lady's got a mean left hook. Some kind. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Got into reporting thinking I was gonna be some sort of public intellectual. What a joke. Spent 95% of my time playing stenographer to the board, and the rest writing puff pieces on the chairman's latest beard trim. Real life and death shit. If you're going back out there, do you think you'd be willing to do an old bastard a small favor?
Does this involve going somewhere we don't belong? Those are my favorite jobs.
Well, I've been trying to get away from this rock for 5 lobby-fucked years, but I can't stay gone. Told you I was a journalist, right? I was here on a story back when Project Gorgon was active. I was doing an interview series for Spacer's Choice. Recorded them all on these little portable phonographs. But when everything fell to shit, Spacer's Choice wouldn't let me leave. Terms of my reporting contract unmet, they said. I stashed my interviews around Gorgon when everything went haywire, and now there's about 5 million marauders between me and them. Look at me, I'm no fighter. I've never even touched a gun. But you're just the right amount of rough around the edges. Help me get my recordings back so I can finally get the hell out of here. Someone had been trying to steal them since the day my assistant and I started interviewing. Couldn't even keep them in my safe. They always found a way in. So I took to hiding them all over the fucking asteroid. Thought I was so clever. What a fool I was. Oh, Georgie? Yeah, she helped me with interviews. A real whiz with the portable recorder tech, too. When things got crazy, I shoved her onto the last ship off Gorgon. With any luck, she's safe and comfortable in Byzantium. She tried every which way to stay, but it was my contract keeping us here, not hers. Didn't seem fair she'd have to suffer just because I made a bad deal. Oh, I've tried, make no mistake. I've caught a couple of rides out with sublight folks, but the board's fixers always send me right back. And I'm not about to stand toe-to-toe with marauders just to fulfill a line item on a contract. No shit? That's downright civilized of you. All right. One of them I stashed in the Office of Creative Incubation, in the projector room on the 3rd floor. I gave another to my friend Birdie to keep in her apartment, just outside OCI's upper entrance. Seems like a good idea at the time. Someone had started a fire, folks were shooting other folks. It was a madhouse. You'll find another in the chem lab. It's in the main lab storage room. Didn't have much of a choice. The primals had gotten loose, couple of them were chasing me. The recordings just ended up wherever I hid. The final one is in human inquiry and auditing. It's tucked behind a pipe in observation room B. What with the test subjects running loose, the researchers were surprisingly unobservant. Strength to your sword arm, friend. And thank you. Hey, there you are. Been wondering how you were doing. Did you manage to find those recordings? Sure, I'm an open book. Nice enough guy. Fashioned himself one of those professional gumshoes, like in the serials. They usually work for the board, rooting out dissidents and the like. Lucky though, he was freelance. Worked for anyone who paid, no matter their allegiance. You ask me, I think the guy just liked snooping around in folks' terminal messages. Next to nothing. He preferred to keep a tight lid on things, more dramatic that way. Not that he needed to keep secrets. Folks down here don't give two shits about anything but bits and beer. So sometimes Lucky'd get deep in his cups and start going on about the ghost of Gorgon. But I didn't think anything of it. Guy also liked to say he could pop the cyst off a cysty pig at 100 paces with his eyes closed. Frenetic, chaotic, vicious, take your pick. I wasn't here at the start, but going off what folks told me about the early days, Gorgon started out with promise. The board's best and brightest were excited to work here, said it was a good posting. The project director had a vision and big, bold ideas. As long as the board gets their bits, that's just the cost of doing business. Thing is, the schedules coming out of the corporate office were unrealistic from the get-go, and they were trying to do the project on a shoestring budget. Couple that with the obvious personnel problems and toxic junk in the product, it was only a matter of time before it all went to hell. Sprat Shack legend has it they crawled out of the mines one day. Heard one fella suggest they might even be aliens. I think Halcyon wants us dead. Look at Monarch. The planet's pure poison. Folks can't eat the food that grows on Terra 2 without getting sick. Who's to say it's not something in the dirt or the water? I don't have proof, mind. It's just a hunch. Shit, any number of things. Fire, primals, sabotage. It didn't happen all at once, but it happened fast enough folks couldn't respond in time. Now, if you're asking how it all kicked off, might have been spies that did it. Corporate espionage, you know, anti-Cleos. I never did figure it out. Not about to try now. Adrenatime, I'm sure you know it, was a drug, something to make folks work harder, work smarter. Had a lot of nasty side effects. Didn't seem so bad to me at the time, but then I hadn't met the test subjects yet. The whole thing was real hush-hush. A lot of worry about corporate spies, especially from anti-Cleos. I probably shouldn't even be mentioning it to you, to be honest. Spacer's Choice, they're really not fond of spies. Fair point, not even spies like spies. Not much except that there was a whole gaggle of them, and so far as I could tell, they absolutely hated each other. Dr. Ambrose would hardly let me speak to any of them, but she complained about him all the time. Everything seemed like. Marion Blakesley, for example, lady who ran HIA, wouldn't return any of her messages. Not once, for years. Jasper Lowe, guy who headed up Chem, was high more than he was sober. He insisted on running special tests on primals, too. Law knows what for. Dr. Ambrose really had it out for this guy Lawrence Goodfellow. Ran OCI. Would lose his shit if he saw red on a schedule. By the end, I heard folks were turning in completely bunk progress reports just to keep him out of their hair. Had this little minion, too, an actuary named Clarence Mosley, obsessed with quantifying every detail of his sad little life. Mosley was the guy who got me mixed up in all this. Asshole. I hope a primal ate him. Oh yeah, it wasn't just that Dr. Ambrose hated them. They seemed to hate each other, too. OCI pushed a ludicrous schedule. Chem made a bad product, and HIA returned garbage results. A regular merry-go-round of shit flying in every direction. It's no surprise it all fell apart.
Sounds like half the crews I run with. Not this one, of course.
Mister, I'm not about to tell you how to do your job, but I ain't think that metaphor's fit to print.
Editor always did say my prose was a bit purple. Or brown, in this case. Not a problem. Anything else? Of course, I won't be going anywhere, so, you know, take your time.
Got it. Heads down.
What's the story with this place anyhow? Used to be a shipping warehouse. Supplies came in, deadly chemicals went out.
Who told you that?
I worked here back in the...
Someone's in here. Oh, lol. It's coming back up again. I'm all right. That last one really emptied my guts. No, wait. Here comes more. Oh.
What have you got there?
Adrenatime, I think. I found some in an old busted crate.
You're just gonna take some drug you found in the garbage?
It's not some drug. It's adrenatime.
I don't see a label.
If it wasn't safe, it wouldn't be in a syringe.
I can't argue with that.
I'm going.
I'm coming. As a medical professional, I gotta say, that is very well preserved and disgusting.
You think they stick the preservative in before or after the eye comes out?
So, how you feeling?
What's on your mind? If you're heading downstairs, order something sweet.